Hello, it's another Sunday and welcome to Sunspiration. Watching for the first time, Sunspiration is inspiration from the Holy Bible. My name is Victor Tarfa. I'm a transformational speaker and a Christian. So every Sunday I dig into the Bible just to inspire you for the week. I believe the Bible is a manual that was given to human being when it was created. So I know there's the best place to find inspiration to fire you up every week. This month of February, I've been talking about love. So I just trying to look at the love of God for us, we as human beings. And so the first one I started with was, God said we should love your neighbor as yourself, which was the second important commandment when Jesus was asked what was the best commandment. The first one was to love your God with all your mind, all your strength and your soul. And the second one Jesus said was to love your neighbor as yourself. But I kicked off talking about love by looking at the most important verse in the Bible, or I could say one of the most important verses in the Bible, which is John 3:16 that says, "For God so loved the world that he gave." God loved us so much he gave his son to die for us. So the first thing he did is, or the first thing we can look at in love is giving, which is the first thing. Secondly, I looked at loving your neighbor as yourself. And then I spoke about what is it? Why did Jesus choose that statement? So for us to love our neighbors, we have to love ourselves first. So I dwelt on the topic of ourselves. And last week I looked at our neighbors. Who is your neighbor? And all these ones are available on my timeline. You can watch it either on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Instagram. I'm looking at the last part of it today, which circles me back to the first commandment, the most important one, which was to love your God with all your strength, all your soul, and all your mind. So whatever you think about, which is your mind, your actions, which is your strength, when you used to do your actions, your soul, your whole human being, everything about you. And so there's so many ways we can actually love God. But today I've chosen to go for three, which I think resonate with me and are quite very, very close to my heart. And the Bible, when Jesus was asked, he said, all the burnt offerings and all the sacrifices, they mean absolutely nothing if you don't love God. A lot of people say, I'm a nice person, I give to charity, I'm a friendly person, I help people. But at the end of the day, yes, you could do all those things and there's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely great and I encourage you to please carry on. But at the end of the day, it goes back into the Bible that says you need to love God first. So imagine just loving God and then doing all those things. That just completes your life and makes you to just love more on people. And it gives you that fulfillment for everything you're actually doing. Secondly, I'm talking about loving others. I spoke about loving your neighbor. When we say loving others, that means God created everyone on this earth. So if you hate someone, that means you're hating God's creation. If you hate God's creation, that means you more or less hate him. So it just works backwards that kind of way. We all know we're taught every time on how to connect with people. One way of connecting with people is if you love what they love, automatically you realize that you're going to have a special connection with them. As they say, the likes attract. Let's say you're trying to get to somebody or you need someone to help you do something. If you love on their children, automatically they will like you for the fact that you like their children because they love their children. Even those that have animals, if you're walking down the road and you see someone walking a dog and you look at the dog and you smile at the dog thinking, lovely dog. When you look at that person, automatically that person smiles back at you because the person goes to see that you've appreciated their dog. So you loved what they love. And for that reason, automatically they begin to like you and they begin to love you. So the same way it says, I believe if we love others, if we just show love to others, that is a powerful way of showing our love to God. And obviously, as you know, is the second most important commandment that Jesus said, which is to love your neighbor as yourself, which means you're loving others. And finally, get to know him. Get to know him more. I remember when I first moved to UK and I was eating the English breakfast, I never liked mushrooms. I just always left the mushrooms behind. But until one day someone asked me, why don't you like mushrooms? Then I realized, actually, I've never really eaten the mushrooms. I just assumed it wasn't nice. And so I just always left it behind. But now, I actually love mushrooms. When I eat English breakfast, I make sure I eat the mushrooms. I put the mushroom in there and I eat it. And I'm sure there's so many people who just don't like something. You see people who say to you, oh, I don't like that guy. Why don't you like him? I don't know. I just don't like him. Or you see people say, oh, I don't like that food. Why don't you like that food? Have you tried it before? No, you haven't. So how come you don't like it? And that's why even when I travel and I go to different countries, I always go to the restaurant and I say to them, give me your local food. I won't just assume I don't think I'm going to like their food. I always still give it a try. And the same applies to God. Some people don't even believe God exists. And the question becomes, well, you don't know him, so how do you know? And that's a question I think we need to begin to ask ourselves. If we love him, we will spend time with him. We will get to know him. Because if you know him, there's no way that you're not going to love him. When you get to know someone, the more you find out about them, the more you dig deep, the more you open your heart to them to understand them, the more you will get to love them. Even for those who are married will know, when you met your wife or your girlfriend or your fiancé before, it was the same thing. The more you got to know about them, the more you got to understand them, the more you fell in love with them. So in case you're feeling away from God thinking, well, I want to love him, but I don't know him. Just spend time reading his word. Spend time getting to know him. Spend time in his presence. Just ask him, Lord, reveal yourself to me. Tell me more about you. And he will do so. So I want to encourage you. We've gone round the circle. I started with loving God, giving to others by way of showing love. I spoke about loving yourself. I spoke about loving others. And the most important thing is loving God. Love God. Love others. And I can assure you, you'll have a fulfilled life. You will just feel that special happiness in your heart every single time. So I want to encourage you again. Love God. Stay blessed. Love you all.